Today, we're going to explore the most advanced and deadly fighter aircraft in the world. From the fast and agile to the heavily armed, these warplanes are the ultimate machines of air superiority, designed to dominate the skies and strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. So whether you're an aviation enthusiast or simply curious about these marvels of engineering, join us as we explore the top fighter aircraft that have earned their place in the annals of aviation history. Please hit the subscribe button and let's go! General Dynamics F111. This aircraft cannot be called exceptional in terms of speed. It barely exceeded the passenger Concorde and Tu-144 in this regard, which could reach speeds of approximately 2,200 to 2,400 kilometers per hour. Nevertheless, the Aardvark, as the F111 is known, could reach speeds in flight that were twice the speed of sound. Its maximum speed was 2,645 kilometers per hour. At that time, this was a decent speed that allowed for the successful completion of many military operations. The first samples were put into service in October 1967. Over the course of its service, according to official data, only more than 10 aircraft were lost. In 1996, they were removed from the US Air Force, and during their time in service, they had the opportunity to participate in some operations in the Vietnam War, in Operation El Dorado Canyon, in Operation Desert Storm in Iraq, and in other military actions. McDonnell Douglas F15 Eagle. It is considered a bright representative of its time and fourth-generation fighters. Such aircraft are called all-weather tactical fighters capable of gaining air superiority. The aircraft entered service with the US Army back in 1976, and during its service time managed to take part in dozens of operations in the Persian Gulf, the Middle East, and even Yugoslavia. The track record of the machine is huge. You can't count how many times these aircraft took to the air to perform secret combat missions or intercept unidentified air targets. The maximum speed of the aircraft is 2,650 kilometers per hour. In total, 22 modifications of this aircraft were created for different tasks. Convair F106 Delta Dart. First put into service in 1959, the Convair F106 was designed to intercept and destroy Soviet bombers during the Cold War. The Delta Dart was equipped with sophisticated radar, infrared missiles, and a missile with a nuclear warhead. The F106 still holds the single-engine speed record. The F106 is considered one of the most difficult fighters to fly. MiG-31. Originally designed as a supersonic fighter interceptor capable of flying in any weather, this aircraft succeeded in meeting its design objectives. It is a long-range aircraft with several modifications tailored for different operating conditions. Notably, this aircraft was the first fourth-generation combat aircraft in the USSR, with a broad range of applications. It is capable of intercepting air targets at high, medium, low, and extremely low altitudes, with the ability to counter heat traps and artificial radar interference. Manned by a two-person crew, this aircraft can reach speeds of up to 3,000 kilometers per hour, leaving enemy aircraft with no chance of escape. F4 Phantom II. The F4 Phantom II supersonic jet fighter was originally developed for the US Navy and officially entered service in 1960. In the mid-60s, the aircraft was also adopted by the US Marine Corps and the US Air Force. The F4 carried more than 8,000 kilograms of weapons, including air-to-air and air-to-ground missiles, as well as various bombs. It was the main fighter aircraft of the Vietnam War, but the F-15 and F-18 Hornet gradually replaced it. MiG-25. The decision to design the MiG-25 was made on the basis that the Soviet Union did not have an aircraft that could fly at very high altitudes and extremely high speeds. It was put into service in 1972 as a modification of the MiG-25P. Under the wings, he had 4 R-40 air-to-air missiles. A little later, the MiG-25R appeared. He had no weapons except for 2 powerful cameras for shooting the area. Also, the MiG-29RB was later introduced. In addition to reconnaissance, it could also carry bombs to drop on enemy territory, including nuclear bombs. Although the aircraft's characteristics did not imply aerobatic maneuvers, pilots often performed them, encouraged by management. Unlike other aircraft made of aluminum, The MiG-25 was constructed with steel to effectively withstand the heat generated by friction against air at maximum speeds. Overall, the aircraft was capable of reaching heights of up to 22,500 meters and covering a distance of up to 2,000 kilometers. Approximately 1,000 MiG-25s of various modifications were produced, with a maximum speed of 3,300 kilometers per hour. SR71 Blackbird. The aircraft weighs 27 tons, and the maximum takeoff weight is 77 tons. It's surprising considering how much fuel it had to take on board. Despite its impressive speed, the aircraft violated the borders of the USSR on multiple occasions. The command believed that such actions would go unpunished, but one such flight resulted in the aircraft being shot down, leading to the cessation of further flights. There is a fear that even destroyed aircraft could be valuable information for the enemy, posing a significant risk for aerial reconnaissance near the country's borders. As a result, the decision was made to halt all flights to prevent further potential losses. North American X15. The North American X15 was not a production aircraft, but rather an experimental rocket plane that reached a remarkable speed of 7,300 kilometers per hour, using rocket engines instead of traditional jet engines. Its purpose was to study the behavior of vehicles at hypersonic speeds and to conduct research on atmospheric re-entry. In fact, the X-15 is the only aircraft to have made a suborbital spaceflight with pilots and safely returned to Earth. Piloted by NASA test pilot Joseph Walker, the X-15 reached a height of 107,000 meters twice in 1963. XB70 Valkyrie. The XB70 Valkyrie was designed as a prototype for the B-70 strategic bomber, which was never completed. Its purpose was to drop bombs accurately at Mach 3 from a high altitude. Only 2 copies of the XB70 were built, which were used as test vehicles for high-speed flights. Today, only the first aircraft still exists, and completed 83 flights totaling more than 160 hours. The second experimental model crashed after completing 43 flights. The XB70 test program ended in February 1969, and the surviving aircraft was transferred to the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. Boeing X43. The Boeing X43, a small drone, achieved a remarkable speed of 11,230 kilometers per hour, about 9.5 times the speed of sound, after 10 years of development and a $250 million budget. While the plane's wingspan and length are only 1.5 meters and 3.6 meters respectively, its significance lies in its role as a flying laboratory. Notably, the X-43's design does not contain rubbing parts, and it is powered by a mixture of oxygen and hydrogen, resulting in water vapor as its exhaust. The X-43 was intended to demonstrate the feasibility of such speeds and the use of alternative fuels, bringing closer the time when planes can travel anywhere in the world in 2 to 3 hours. That's all for today. Let us know in the comments which aircraft you like the most. Remember to hit the subscribe button and give our video a thumbs up.